Well, it's just a culmination, of my hard work. If you told me when I was, like in elementary school that I'd be valedictorian, probably wouldn't believe you. Not because like I didn't show academic rigor, but because it just seemed like such an unattainable thing. So now that I've accomplished it, I don't want to say it means everything to me, but I think it is a notable achievement that I am very proud of. Well, it was difficult, but I won't say it's the hardest thing in the world. It's all about your dedication and your commitment and constantly making sure that you have a dialogue between you and your teachers because they want to help you. Some of the teachers in the school have been my biggest cheerleaders, and I think that they are what was so instrumental in making sure that this happened. Well, high school, I would definitely say that Mr. Kirk, he was my ninth grade AP world teacher. He was my teacher over the pandemic, and he put so much work and so much energy making sure that we still knew what class was, especially now that we were transitioning from middle school to high school. I think it was the fact that he cared. He checked up on us. He did like interactive workshops over Zoom to make sure that we were prepared for the rigor of AP classes. My 10th grade and 7th grade English teacher, Miss Fitzmaurice, she was so understanding and so helpful to me because I had some complications after I contracted COVID, and she was right there always helping me. My AP government teacher this year, Miss Holson, super understanding. She was so dedicated. She made government such a fun class, even though it's such a boring topic. Miss Keys, well, she's not my teacher this year, but she was my teacher last year. I had 3 classes with her last year, and I know a lot of people get sick of seeing the same person every day, but I never got sick of seeing her because she was just, again, so dedicated, and she fostered a community where everybody could speak to her or like they felt open speaking and being in her presence. My 11th grade teacher, Mr. Wolf, he was my AP U.S. history teacher. He made the content so palatable. He knew what it was like to not really understand stuff in high school and be in these rigorous courses and having a life outside of school, and he met us halfway. And I think there's teachers like that are really so impactful. And my AP art teacher and my art teacher for the last 6-7 years, Miss Rush, she's just always been there, always dependable, always made sure that she was there fostering creativity. Those are teachers that have been the most impactful to me. I think I've taken 8 AP so far. I took AP World, AP US History, AP Language, AP Lit, AP Gov, AP Push, AP Environmental, and AP Art 2D. The last time I checked, it was 101. I think that was a cumulative last year, but my GPA this year is like seen 106. So I don't really know how much that factors in, but it's up there. I'm in the Smart Scholars program. That's what made me take all these rigorous courses. And, I think because it's like a core cohort of Smart Scholar students, I think we all have helped each other out, made study guides, and have shared it around and have studied together. And I feel like that has really helped me academically, just knowing that I have a community who understands what I'm doing and how it can be a difficult process and who are willing to help each other out. I am student body class president. I'm in National Honor Society. I was part of the yearbook committee. I've had 2 internships outside of school. I interned at the Pelham Arts Center during my sophomore and junior year, and I interned at Mount Vernon Eye Care over the last summer. It was definitely an experience being class president. you get to see the inner workings of, you know, what makes an event happen. And I know on the surface it seems like, oh, that's just prom, or oh, that's just a trip, but there's so much planning, and it takes so much dedication. Um, Shout out to Miss Keys, Janai Morgan, Lil Fareed, and Sheridan Hines. Without them, I don't know what I could have done. It was definitely a group effort. Um, Mainly art, you know. I feel like being valedictorian and being so enthralled in like academic stuff all the time, I use art as this like creative outlet. On my own personal time, like this year we had to do a portfolio for College Board, and that took up pretty much all of my time outside of school. So I feel like at this very moment, you know, I'm just really into art. Well, I've only been accepted into one, and I committed to Brown University. So that is where I'll be attending this fall. It's an Ivy League, so it means, you know, a lot. Um, and I really like the fact that I got into Brown, because I was interested or more interested in other Ivies, and I feel like I just wouldn't have thrived there like how I've thrived here. Yeah, I got in through Questbridge, so that means I have a full ride for the next 4 years. I visited the campus, it's beautiful. There's just so many opportunities there. I feel like what makes Brown so unique is the fact that they have an open curriculum. It's not all based on the grades. I mean, grades are important, but I feel like unlike most other universities, they really place an emphasis on the teacher-student interaction. Like, they want to teach you. They just don't want to talk at you the whole time. Well, I plan to study neuroscience because I want to be a neurooptometrist. Yeah, I think I'm pretty content with that choice at the moment. I was always interested in neurology, and a lot of members in my family, they have like eye-related diseases. I know my grandma has glaucoma, my aunt is developing it, and also we have like strokes. And I feel like being surrounded by that and knowing how hard it can be for people in that moment has motivated me to want to like bring them together in some way so I can better understand why it happens. Yeah, and I've always, I don't know, even in art, like I've always gravitated to drawing the eyes. I don't know what it is about it, but I feel like that just made the most sense to me. Crestbridge is a scholarship program where they contact the top universities in the country, and when you apply through Questbridge, you have a shot of getting into these schools as well as a guaranteed full ride. So I think the application, it was so long ago, but it starts in September or it closes in September, and you basically have to apply to colleges, early decision, but you get to apply to more than one. So I know I applied to Columbia, Brown, and Princeton. My first choice was Columbia, then Brown, then Princeton. And if you get into your second choice, which is Brown, you have to withdraw all your other applications. So it was definitely stressful. It was definitely stressful. And I think you should definitely write all your essays ahead of time and not the same day, which I'm not going to say that I did, but I would suggest not doing that. Write them over the summer. That's what my teacher, Ms. Keys, had us do. All 3 class periods was write college essays. You should do that. So I had to sit down and write the essays and a supplemental, and you also have to show demonstrated financial need to qualify because it is a need-based program. I got into the College Prep Scholars Program, which does increase your chances of getting the scholarship in the end, but it's all about connecting, you know, people from underserved communities to these higher respected places of learning. I would just say that you have to stay committed and dedicated, and as much as it sucks to be in all these AP classes sometimes and write all these essays and do all these tests, and it just seems so mundane and repetitive and tedious, you just have to stay dedicated. sometimes you're gonna slip up, and you just have to, as corny as it sounds, you just have to get back up and just try and have a dialogue with your teachers. Have a dialogue with administration. Just talk to people. They will try to help you out. They are, for the most part, very understanding people. And you shouldn't just base your worth off your grade. And I know that's funny coming from me, but if you get so focused on the grade, you start to lose a part of yourself. And I feel like it is important for you to maintain your happiness. Don't put a grade over your sleep. Please don't do that. It's a bad thing to do. Sleep first, and then talk to the teacher and be like, man, please, I was very tired. Also, have a passion for something. Really, really find your passion. And I know it's kind of annoying when grown-ups ask us at the ripe age of 17 or 18, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? But don't think of it as what you want to do job-wise, but think about what you're passionate in and go for it. Yeah.
I tend to view it in the most literal sense, as in I have the second highest GPA in the class. I hadn't necessarily intended on becoming the salutatorian. It just happened. So I tend to be very busy after school, so for me it meant doing a lot of work late in the night and just generally applying myself to my courses as much as I possibly could. I personally really enjoyed AP Environmental Science. I'm personally vegan, and I just really felt very passionate about the course and the materials within it. And then also AP Literature and Composition, simply because I thought it was very interesting to view things critically and try and find things or think about information from other angles that I hadn't considered previously. So I believe I took about 7 AP courses. Most of them were in the humanities. I took AP Lang, AP Lit, AP Environmental Science, AP Calculus, AP Government, AP World, and AP US History. Generally, I tend to enjoy the STEM courses more, and I am interested in pursuing neuroscience once I go to college. I would say, honestly, most of my interest in neuroscience was formed in terms of extracurriculars, but still a lot of my coursework in school did kind of pull me to pursuing those extracurriculars. So I was involved in a program at Columbia. It's SPrep, and it's for people who are minorities or like financially disadvantaged, and it's supposed to give you an opportunity to explore science or math outside of school in terms of like more advanced or collegiate coursework. And there I pursued like cognitive neuroscience, and I also pursued calculus, biochemistry, chemistry, and just like generally other STEM courses that I might not have been offered in school. So, as this is an art school, I am a dancer, and honestly, this took up most of my time outside of school. I danced pre-professionally, and I did also do some professional work. I also danced competitively, and honestly, it's just a nice place to explore myself as a person and as an artist, and also just express myself as I also choreograph. So, what kind of pulls me to dance is the storytelling aspect. In terms of like being a dancer for other people, I've always been interested in the choreographer's story. When people are working through topics that relate to like big world problems or controversial topics, that's always interesting to me, and I always appreciate dance and just art in general and its ability to speak for a person. Yes, so generally my community service does tie back to dance. Like I perform in churches or at parades and things of that nature. So I go out and perform for different holidays with my dance school, and generally it's just for the community to see and observe. And also what interests me when we go out and perform is like the audience. Sometimes we'll get the opportunity to go talk to the audience, and the different children in the audience are sometimes inspired by like us performing, and then they say they also want to pursue dance, and that's always very moving for me personally. I do plan to continue dancing and pursuing it in college. I did end up making in the dance team for my college, so I will be participating in that. Additionally, because I'll be attending college in the city, I hope to take classes there. So I decided to go to Fordham University because they gave me a decent amount of money. They paid my tuition in completion, so I appreciated that. In terms of other acceptances, I got into Stony Brook, and I got into their WISE honors program, and they also gave me a scholarship. I got into UConn, and I got into their honors program with like and scholarship for STEM specifically. I got into George Washington University into their honors program and with a scholarship. I got into Albany with a scholarship, and I got into a few other schools with similar packages. I want to study integrative neuroscience. So I'm interested in becoming a neurologist. Specifically, I'd like to pursue a certificate in psychiatry with my neurology degree as well, so that I could focus more on both the psychological aspects of health as well as like the internal pathology within the nervous system. Yeah, so both of my parents are psychologists, so I kind of always was interested in like how things come to be within our minds and like how our realities are shaped and how perceptions are shaped and things of that nature. Also, my grandmother has MS, so I was again also really exposed to the nervous system and the effects that having a diseased neural system can have on a person. And just generally, I was kind of interested in like what shapes our experiences of life. I would say that, and this is kind of a vague answer, but I would say that everyone in some way kind of helped me. I feel like all the things that we experience in some way get internalized. And so with the information that we get from others, we then make our own decisions, and everyone kind of helps us move forward. Well, first off, congratulations on graduating. I think this is a very large time in everyone's lives right now, so I would just like to first off again congratulate everyone and also say good luck going forward and just to be honest to yourself.